case, there were 36 of them. I'm pretty excited for the Tesla Semi because I feel like that's the first step towards the Tesla RV and towards me having a self-driving RV that will take me around the world.
Cool, we are up.
Let's see what else. By the way, the Costco Tesla
All
Semi.
right, let me close off. What is up, everybody? I am, as you can hear, we're in Spaces listening to some people talk some Tesla. This should be a good conversation that we have coming forward. Over the next hour, 2 hours, we'll see what we got going on there. But yeah, I just wanted to share this conversation we were having. I'm going to get all the tweets out and stuff like that. So first couple seconds here, I might just listen into this conversation. But yeah, we're gonna be listening to some Tesla talk, adding to that conversation. Obviously, the stock's been going pretty crazy recently. Had a pretty downwards move, and it's come back nicely. Let's look at the 1 day on Tesla. So I mean, has been a little worse. Definitely has been better. But yeah, one person already in here. Shout out to that. But give me a second.
Speculating on what these new partnerships could be. So, like, for example, prior to the Whole Foods and Amazon merger or acquisition, he had mentioned that was a Moonshot Monday idea. And I thought, that's such an odd partnership. Why would Amazon ever acquire Whole Foods? And then it ended up happening. And then in retrospect, it's like, okay, there are some synergies there. With Apple and Rivian, I don't know if I'm running with some idea, in a random direction, but I think there could be one.
Ooh, cut out for me.
And
he's back.
Yeah,
no, he's still here for me. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Apple cut their self-driving car project. Rivian's low on cash. Rivian has a pretty nice design style that is similar to the Apple design language. So, yeah, I mean, I think it could happen.
Yeah, definitely could and seems to have potential there. All right, let's just go around the panel and just hear from everybody what the latest things are that they've been looking at. Warren, I know it's late by you, and I appreciate you tuning in, so I'm going to come over to you first. And also, nice job on getting Sawyer and Omar their follows back.
I wasn't even trying. That's the funny part. I wasn't even trying to get them back. I just was making fun of the situation.
But, it shows the power of memes, Warren.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm on a roll lately. Elon's been liking my posts and responding to me a little bit, so I must be doing something right. I'm actually caught up I'm still caught up on the supercharger thing. And I don't know how many people saw the article I posted. I don't think this is what Tesla's doing. It's just an idea of what Tesla might do. But I think there's a, question of what's the... I don't know if people understand the CapEx issue. Maybe that's what we should talk about, is Tesla is trying to be efficient in their allocation.
If you're in here, say hello, money, talking some Tesla.
Right? Where are we going to invest to grow the business? And Elon has said they're going to invest, there's a little shaky on the number, $10 billion in AI. I think $2 billion of that is what's going in the cars, which isn't really an investment. That's paid for by the customer. Effectively, it's cost of goods sold. But, Elon wants to invest a ridiculously large amount of money into AI chips with good reason. And that means I think they have to find money from elsewhere. They have to not waste money on employees who aren't contributing, whether they're because their position's unnecessary or because they're not doing good work. And superchargers, some people have probably seen my post about this or my video about this. I think the supercharger team was maybe not doing the best work. There was a proposed supercharger in a place called Yeehaw Junction, which most people probably aren't familiar with it, but it's on their way from South Florida, i.e. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, up to Orlando, and it's sort of in the middle of nowhere. And 200 superchargers was, to me, a gross misallocation of capital. So I think that the supercharger team may not have been doing a great job of allocating capital, and I don't know if that's the reason or just sort of in general they noticed some dysfunction on the team. But the idea that I posted today, and this is, I think, a little too much finance MBA thinking and something that Elon doesn't think this way, but what if Tesla spun off the supercharger network in an IPO? 20% of the stock, Tesla holds does an IPO and spins off, you can buy 20% of this new company, and Tesla continues to hold 80%. And I think it would probably have a market cap of a valuation of close to $10 billion. So it would generate $2 billion in cash for the new supercharger spinoff to invest a lot of money in building out superchargers and maybe doing other things to.
Yo, what's up, Dan? What's up, Ali? How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well.
Tesla would have
Talking some Tesla. You guys can hear it all right, right?
Generate $2 billion more in cash for Tesla to invest in chips. That's kind of and most people do not like this idea. But if you're cash constrained and you want to be able to free up some cash, and then the supercharger spinoff might even be able to borrow money to generate more cash to build out more of a supercharger network. So that's a little bit of a crazy idea. That's the one that I'm kind of obsessed with right now, and I think everybody's obsessed with FSD version 12.
Penny.
Yeah, I mean, the Optimus stuff is what's so exciting to me. I'm always waiting for the next video. So the battery sorting that came out this week was, a good example of how much progress they've made in the dexterity of the robot. I think, picking up and sorting those batteries, there was some auto correction involved. So if it made a mistake, and if you remember the laundry folding,
what's up,
was
Lo?
not automated. And several times in this video, they were pointing out that this was like a fully automated exercise that Optimus was doing. In addition to the video, which I thought was cool enough, I saw a post from Elon later that the degree of articulation in I believe it was the wrist, is like double in the next version of the Optimus hands, and I think that's pretty crazy. All the actuators are going to be inside the arm.
Interesting
now,
headline with this one.
Cleaning up more and more. Super, super exciting to see what's going on with Optimus. When I think about Tesla, the car company is like...
Not really.
In the background, from my point of view, it's all about AI. FSD, I think, is the first thing that's going to hit the scene. But I'm sort of the opinion that the robot is going to catch a lot of people by surprise. And I think we're going to start to see it in the real world sooner than most analysts are anticipating. It seems like they're pushing this technology so quickly. We're getting updates every few months. Like, we're not waiting for an AI day once a year. They're just dropping as they go advancements. And I think that's so cool to see. That's the Tesla that I'm interested in and invested in. And, I'm so excited for the future that it's going to bring, to be honest. Like, when I think about these robots, I think about the fact, Elon says 2, 3, 4 per person. I mean, just imagine how much labor 20 billion humanoid robots is going to create. I mean, that is absolutely crazy to think about, and it just flips the economy upside down. So I got really excited to see that update. I'm already excited for the next one. I can't wait to see the next version of the hands. Just the future. We are part of the future now.
Yeah, Evan, you want to jump in here with some thoughts on Optimus? If you need a minute, maybe Kristen.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with Tesla. It's going in many different directions, from the FSD to the bots. But the FSD is working with the bots at some point. But I kind of am paying attention to a lot of the employees that are shuffling around. I just find that really interesting. I think people saw Tom Zhu. He's the one that helped build up Giga Shanghai. He was overseeing that, and they built it in record time. I think it's the fastest Giga, I believe, that they've built. And they did it really quickly. We were watching the videos and them putting it up at night. Those workers just working around the clock. So Tom Zhu is back over at China just to continue pushing forward with what's going on over there and keep it focused, And it's interesting to see all the different employees. I mean, some have volunteered that they feel they're done. It's their time is served, and others are let go. Just a big swath of the supercharging group was let go, and a few different, I believe, what department was that? I believe the media department, a lot of people were let go. So I don't know. I think my mind's been analyzing that and trying to figure out what's going on. I think it's good. I think this is not just Tesla. That's one thing that we have to say and notice, that the tech industry across the board is letting a lot of people go. So I think people are looking in the macro of the economy and just trying to figure out what to do moving forward, these companies, so to make sure that they survive whatever's coming. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Landon, haven't heard from you yet.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm watching all of the excitement, and it just feels to me, and this is entirely subjective, that my outer circle of influence is starting to realize some of these things. And it's really exciting. It's like watching your toddler figure out the world. And we've been watching these things for 5-10 plus years, and we're like, wow, Tesla is going to be everything. And if you look back, this is a really hard time frame to ask people to think about. But if you think about the time right before your grandparents were maybe born, it's a long time ago,
What's
right?
up, Dan?
But
Lost Robotics is a great company, but it's private. Any ideas of a good robot company we mortals can invest in? People seem to like Tesla for optimists.
There was a 15-year period where
I
there
did.
were almost no cars, to where 15 years later, in cities even, there were almost no horses used for transport and moving.
I don't think there's any public
goods.
of these public besides the Tesla.
And that's where we are right now. We're in the 15-year time period, in my opinion. And so this is the time where your family's destiny, your future generations of your family, is going to be based on whether you're paying attention or not in these 15 years. You can also ask yourself, when did the 15 years start? Because it didn't start this year. And so we're in store for more of this excitement. We've got more people realizing that we might actually get to Mars, humans on Mars this decade. We've got more people realizing that you don't have to drive your car in the most stressful traffic situations after you've been drinking or when you're tired. Your car can drive yourself. Your car might have the technology to keep your family members alive that would have died in car accidents had this technology not been here.
No, Dan, I don't think I did.
Robots taking over the labor force.
It would have been on my story at one point.
Years, are you paying attention?
But the top is these are all the companies
out there. I
there.
look forward to some questions from the panel later.
Yeah, I think you do put it in a nice and easy to understand way. I guess what I would maybe push back on is when it came to cars over horses, ultimately I think everybody had to see the benefits. Do you think there's going to be a subsidiary of people that are like, no, I just want to drive. Like, I enjoy driving?
Well, it's a great question. The people that I know in the Tesla community are those people. We love to drive. 5-6 years ago, we were buying the 2018 Model 3 Performance that's faster than a Porsche 911. And it was this new technology that we were excited to adopt. So people are going to want some of the change, but generally people just want to buy what they've bought before, and they want to buy it where they bought it before. And so, yeah, I want to drive. I love to drive. I live in the mountains of Colorado. There's canyons and mountain roads. It's amazing.
This was nice, right?
I don't want to drive.
This is from that newsletter you guys saw me make.
I'm driving to the superstore that's 70 miles away, and I'm coming back, and I'm a little drowsy and whatever. Or I'm driving down to the Tesla shareholders event in Texas, and I'm driving in the middle of the night. When people say they want to drive, they don't mean they want to stare at a dark road on cruise control going 70 miles an hour. So I'm totally with you. A lot of us love to drive, and that's how we got our introduction to Tesla. So I think that everybody can have this future, and we're realizing how all of these things come into play that we thought that the new technology, no, that's just for old people that can't drive anymore. This is going to be something that helps all of us. And
I won't lie to you. This is probably going to be a Tesla more bull space with a lot of them. I could push back if you ask me some things you want me to ask them. I can. His name is Lando, though. That's probably a better volume. You can hear me in them. His name is Lando, though.
Wolf, you mentioned that the
this is now Penny.
advantages were obvious for the car over the horse, but I would argue the same for FSD, right? Like, if you really think about what the advantages are, it's ease of use and added productivity, and you get there by getting places faster. You just fill it up and park in the garage. You don't have to feed and maintain like you would a horse all the time, a car in your garage. But if you're talking about FSD, the added productivity when you're not driving and when you're able to actually do something, I think that's an even bigger advantage than the horse had over the car.
Apple did have their event today, by the way.
People still love to drive, but people love to ride horses too. and there's plenty of people that still ride
New
horses.
iPad
But
Pro,
it's like so
new Apple
incredibly
Pencil,
niche
M4
compared
chip.
to
This was
cars.
cool.
And I think in the long run, the same thing is going to happen with these robo-taxis. It's like, sure, you'll
And
drive,
then new iPad
but
being
you'll
the
drive on a
thinnest
racetrack
Apple
where
product
it's
ever
actually
made.
fun to drive. There'll be roads
Whoa,
set up
whoa.
specifically to drive on. But to get places,
New iPad Air.
when, you know, you could be actually doing work on your way, but
This was
instead
cool
you
last
have
night.
to stare at the road. I just don't think that there's a lot of people
sneeze.
that are
Alright.
gonna stick to that. You know, as
Apple's been working on its own
design,
chip designed to run AI software and data center servers. We didn't hear anything about that yesterday, but that was a Wall Street Journal article.
Sure, you
Which I
know,
actually
you'll
could
drive
just
some,
get.
but when your friend gets an hour worth of work done on their way to the office and you didn't get any, I don't see people holding out on that for very long.
Quick follow-up and just to add on there, maybe this is burying the lead, but here's the twist. In this new scenario, compared to 125 years ago, we are the horses. The humanity doing the labor, we are the horses that are going to be phased out as the humanoid robots come in and do the things that we really don't want to be wasting our time doing.
Yeah, I think you guys will make good points on this. Evan, I'll try one more time, see if you want to come in on
Sorry.
Condo. Oh, yeah, you're good. We were talking a lot about Optimus and some of the bot stuff. Curious if you wanted to chime in there.
Yeah, I think with Optimus, there's two different things that can come that I think we're really talking about here. The kind of robot that can work in a factory, that can do a task, the same task over and over again, maybe with different stuff, and that's already kind of been happening a little bit in different forms. And definitely could be improved. And that's one thing. And then there's this whole AGI. It's going to do anything you want and throw at it. We'll be able to react to different stuff. We'll be able to do your laundry and then do this and then do that, which I feel like is a little further away. But the kind of the basic robotics task that can replace a person who's making minimum wage in California, you're getting like $15-$20 an hour. That's a $30,000 or $40,000 per year person that you have to employ, who can only work 8 hours in a day or 9 hours or 10 if you're really going crazy. But I mean, people like to work less than more a lot of the times. So the price starts to pay for itself there. So I think that part of the arena for Optimus, I think I could see the vision for it within the next couple years, like within 5 years. But the AGI version of it, that vision of everyone having multiple robots by their side and this and that, I do struggle to get behind at this point. I won't lie. It feels a little more Star Wars-esque, like I'm gonna go and watch something there. So I don't know. We'll see. That part of the topic I've been a little bit more skeptical on, and I don't think is super. Okay, so for me, when I look at Tesla, I think the number one thing is them solving FSD, and you could argue that them solving FSD has some relation to them solving AGI through this bot, but not directly. I just feel that it's a little further away. That part of it is kind of the core I'm trying to say at, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it happens. I'm just very excited for the full self-driving aspect of this. I think that is everything at this company that turns it from a car company into an AI and robotics and software company. So I great as EVs might be, and I know you kind of were pushing back on it. Maybe you're pushing back more on FSD. I don't care that much about EVs versus ICE. Like if you're going to give me a better product at a cheaper price, I'll take it. But that's less important to me than the AI side of this company. That's all I care about, really, honestly, at this price.
Evan, don't you think 5 years is like an eternity in terms of being able to predict where these systems are at, given where, let's say, LLMs were 5 years ago compared to now? I have a really hard time projecting out that far and trying to put any limitations on what these are capable of.
I hear what you're saying, and some stuff can just move extremely quickly, and it can shock you out of nowhere. But also, there's a lot of things that have been 5 years away for a long time, and I think some of that stuff might continue. And it's on a lot of these problems, nothing's easy, but the first 80% of the problem can be a lot easier and go a lot quicker than the last 20%. So we might be kind of privy to that. And truth, like, who knows how far away the true AGI robotics aspect of it is. My way of saying 5 years plus is saying I'm not betting on it at all in the current format. If I get new information, cool. But when I say 5 to 10 years plus, or like more than 10 years, I'm telling you that's my way of saying I would put no real bet on it that it's actually coming.
Did you watch
Good call,
Sam
Jim.
Altman's Stanford talk?
No, I don't think so. This last
So
week? No.
It was this week, and he was talking about how the next version of OpenAI's LLM is going to be smarter in every way. Like, he says that people try to pigeonhole into beating a certain metric or a certain test. But what he's saying is that what they're able to scientifically measure about the way that they are training these GPTs is that they can actually predict how smart they're going to be, and that they're going to be smarter across basically every category. So he seems confident that with additional training that they can scale these brains, and that he fully expects that it'll be like noticeably better than what we're seeing now in the next version, and that will continue over time. If they release a new version every 6 months or even every year, 5 step changes from where we're at now. I mean, that just seems like unimaginably smart to me. So I expect to see that not just from their company, but from all the companies building these AIs. That's the brain. I'm watching how fast they're developing the body at Tesla. They already have crazy robot bodies, at other places that maybe aren't built to mass manufacture. But I think this is one of those cases where it's going to surprise people. That's my opinion. I think everyone has sort of the same opinion as you, as there are things that have been 5 years out for a long time. And you're absolutely right. Like, I had to throw hand claps when you said that. But there is momentum in this specific field right now, which is, training the next AI brains. Like, we are hot on development there, and the pace is breakneck from my point of view. I mean, I'm someone who is closer to the industry than most, and it's almost impossible to keep up with all the new papers that are getting released and all of the new advancements from different companies, new startups popping up. I expect these next 5 years to be like frantic change, and I'm sort of looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, well, listen, when I see it, when I start to see some stuff of that, I'm excited to be proven wrong, because I don't even consider it really at all in what I'm buying today. But no, fair enough. We'll see.
Very nice. Appreciate the discussion. I think there's a lot of interesting pieces. Let's talk Elon for a second. Ryan, he's been quite active on the timeline lately, very vocal. Anything that you've been picking up? He's been interacting still a lot with, Sawyer. There's been some good comments there. He's been talking about Optimus. He's been commenting on Tesla miles.
I'm glad the great unfollow controversy of 2024 came to a right and just conclusion. Just throwing that out there.
I think we were all happy to see that.
It was a dark day for a little bit. I know Wolf was worried. He was like, "Oh, am I next?"
I had to check every 5 minutes.
It's rough. It was rough days out there. I'm glad we got through it as a team. Good job.
Yeah, I think it's cool that he's interacting with so many accounts on X. It's also beneficial for the growth of X if he's willing to reply to random small creators or just smaller accounts, because it makes it more likely that other small accounts will think that they have a shot at reaching Elon, and they're more likely to post, and they're more likely to engage in the platform. And then also, Elon interacts and comments, likes, replies to people of many different walks of life, many different industries, many different niches, and that helps cross-platform engagement as well. So I think a lot of the stuff that he does, though it may seem like it's spur of the moment, I think it's quite deliberate. And that's also true at his other companies. And same thing when he's talking on the earnings conference calls and says some random comment, or when he's in an interview and seemingly says something off the cuff. I think usually it's thought through quite deeply. So that, I guess this is part of the reason that I'm usually not concerned a single bit when he says something that shocks the internet or throws the media off guard.
You know, I think that I think that a lot of the tweets are just off the cuff, which I think is just who he is. But fair enough.
I think in the moment, but he's processed so much in his brain leading up to that moment that his off the cuff has plans.
Right. I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Sometimes I question, but I digress. I'll let you continue.
Okay, thanks. Going off what Landon was saying about FSD, I have an anecdote. Yesterday, I went in to get a medical exam. I went in to get a colonoscopy, and they put you under anesthesia. So afterwards, you have to have medical transport home, or just somebody driving you home that's not Uber or Lyft or Waymo or whatever. And I was thinking, well, my Tesla could drive me home. And I felt like before the procedure or the exam, I felt like, yeah, that could definitely be possible. Afterwards, with the anesthesia, I was quite loopy, and I recognized that, okay, though the Tesla could do 98% of the driving, I still wouldn't have been confident in that exact state of mind to have the Tesla drive me because of that extra 2%. So getting to the point where I would feel confident in that is probably soon, but it's going to take quite a bit to get that last remainder where, okay, I'm confident the Tesla's never going to cut off somebody by going too slow, and it's never going to be braking early before an intersection and then creeping up to them at the intersection. And then I have to have confidence that it's going to be able to park in the correct spot. All of these last remaining pieces are probably going to take a couple of years or two or three. So, similar to with what's going to happen with Optimus, I'm pretty aligned with Evan's thinking. Like, a lot of these progress updates are indeed accelerating at an exponential pace, but getting all of the features that they're wanting to be able to perform human-like tasks and really truly replace labor, I think it's gonna take some time. Although, and then like just flip-flopping back and forth, I mean, trying to see both sides. I feel like for the financials of the company, it would not make sense to not include it at all, because clearly Tesla's dedicating tons of resources to this project, and they're making progress. They're showing that they're making progress. So there needs to be some dollar amount that I'm saying this part of the company, it should be valued at. It could, like, you could even think that, okay, it's a net negative for the company and it's gonna fail for sure. Therefore, I'm gonna assign a negative value because they're spending dollars that are never gonna have a return. Or you could say, okay, they're investing these dollars and there will be some return in the super distant future. Therefore, the value is low. Or you could be like, like how I feel, which is they are definitely going to get there. It's going to unlock ridiculous amounts of value, and then you have to assign some dollar amount to it today. But to assign no value, I think is just not accurate. Landon, I saw you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to use some of your comments to make an angle on your own point and others that have been made in the room here. I think it's remarkable that it's probably been 3 months since we've had version 12. I don't even remember but that's general time frame, right? And so the examples of you not feeling comfortable letting FSD get you home, I was surprised. I guess I would ask, maybe out of 10 trips of driving from your doctor's office to your home, do you think any of them would have been the manner you described? But the bigger point, I thought it was remarkable that you're saying that it might not park in the right spot, or it might slow down earlier than you want for a stop sign. And you had a third example that I thought were kind of almost nothing that could easily happen in an Uber. If you had an Uber driver, or your mother-in-law decided to pick you up from that doctor's appointment, how many chances? So I thought that your examples equal solved in my mind. And I thought we had to give a little bit more time, not very much, but a little bit more time to the Apple Rivian talk when you're ready. But I just thought, wow, if somebody described your example of coming home from a medical appointment where you're not able to drive, if those three things were the current state of FSD, wow, that sounds like really close to solved, and I would trust that. Thanks for letting me respond.
Sure. Yeah, I think that is a good point. Like they do seem like lower hanging fruit items. I kind of wish that there was immediate feedback that we could give the car to help nudge it in the right direction. Like I mean, there's the voice feedback that we can provide right now. But for example, if the car drops us off in a spot that's less desirable than we want, if we could just say like, move up another 20 feet. Obviously, we could walk 20 feet usually, but if we could just say, hey, move forward 20 feet.
Progress.
That'd be extremely nice. If we could say, like, if we could be in a Tesla-like Uber in the back seat and click which parking spot we want, that would be awesome. If we could, and the vast majority of the time when I'm driving my Tesla today, I feel very confident that it's going to keep me safe. It's just a matter of comfort. Like I'm 100% confident that it's gonna not crash into anything that it. Like I'm 100% confident that it's not going to crash into anything where
I feel like there was one extra one.
But then I don't feel comfortable in that it's not going to cut somebody off. Right? So like if it cuts somebody off super abruptly in a way that's unsafe, that would be a totally different thing. But when it cuts somebody off in an unpleasant way, that's annoying. I don't want to cut anybody off. And I feel like it currently does that. Maybe that's solvable in the next update, but it hasn't been solved yet. And that's been frustrating to me. I guess going back to the Rivian point, like with Apple, one of the things that I've been thinking recently is that my cousin recently bought a Tesla, and my parents are finally coming around to the thought of it. People are no longer convinced that the company is going to go bankrupt. They're no longer convinced that Tesla is going to go bankrupt. Therefore, they're more comfortable buying the car today than they were, let's say, in 2017 through 2021. And this is somewhat a problem that Lucid, Rivian,
you excited for that, Ollie? Sounds cool.
Right now,
will it have FSD?
If somebody is aware of the financials of these companies, they may be hesitant to buy a car that they may not be able to service 5 years from now. And so if Lucid, Rivian, Polestar are able to get through these choppy waters or these tough times or these cash flow issues, then I think their sales could go up much more. So merging with guess Apple or getting acquired by Apple or having some sort of partnership with Apple could be a nice little lifeline / boost to their sales.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's very nice and naive kind of hope to kind of talk, I think, right? Apple buying Rivian. So your argument. I don't mean to pick on you, Ryan. I love your comments, but you just brought this up. So here I go. Right, Rivian. Apple buying Rivian. So you're saying the biggest benefit, it would be a gift to new consumers that want to buy Rivian but think it's going to go out of business. So I think my analogy is that Apple buying Rivian is like a wealthy 70-year-old going out with a model in her 20s that has $75,000 in credit card debt. I mean, there are some optics. Rivian has an exciting product. They've got a rabid fan base, but they are going down. I mean, there's not a company that can handle the balance sheet like that. So now we're talking about Rivian's only outlet is some kind of angel investment that makes no financial sense for Apple. See, Rivian doesn't have manufacturing. They can't scale. And so if Apple's looking for a partner in the EV business, they need Hyundai or somebody that can manufacture things. So those are my thoughts there, and it goes back to Evan's comment earlier. When you talk about these things that are perpetually 5 years out, for me, it is Toyota's solid state battery technology. Every 3 months they come out with an article that solid state batteries are just 5 years away and everybody else is going to go out of business. So this is another thing, is what company is Apple going to buy this quarter that will save the company and make Apple relevant again? Those are just my opinions.
We've heard nothing about what that, first of all, any Apple slander, bad from me. But we haven't heard anything about what that partnership might be, right? Because it could be as simple as Rivians will now have Apple CarPlay. Cool. Like that is literally what my mind went to first. So I just can't imagine anything major there. Maybe this is Apple trying to take $10 billion of investment that they made over a couple of years and get $1 billion worth of value out of it, or $5 billion or whatever they can, and take down some of the value. I think it would make sense to have the thought that Apple is going to try and do something with the R&D that they spent on the Apple car. But we'll see. I think it's an interesting one to watch, but I would definitely not jump to the conclusion that Apple is looking to acquire Rivian. That would for sure not where my mind went to first. And I feel like it's just going to be Apple CarPlay. Or watch out, Apple AI coming to a Rivian car soon. Bang. That was kind of a joke, but would be cool.
Do you expect a new, better version of Siri soon, Evan?
I mean, it has to. Like, the form that AI has taken so far that people actually believe in is generative AI. And it just makes so much sense for that to end up really kind of be what Siri becomes. So I hope so, and if it doesn't, then we have a problem. But Apple's not the type of company to release a model, call it something like, hey, who knows, Gemini, and then the first day it's making these wild pictures of past stuff, and it's not getting it right. So I think Apple has earned the rights to make you think that, hey, they're gonna maybe come in a little bit late, they're gonna do it right. And if AI is real and it was a 2-year cycle and that was it, then it obviously wasn't as big as people think. If you really think AI is something huge, you have to think we're in the first innings still, and maybe even like the first half of the first inning. And if you think Apple can't catch up from that, I think you're mistaken. Maybe you could talk about the culture that they have doesn't let them catch up to it, but I don't know. I think that there's a lot of Apple slander right now, I'm going to call it. And maybe Apple isn't quite the company it was 10 years ago, but I think they've created the best consumer product of all time. Maybe a Tesla car that can drive itself can come in and beat it. Who knows? I'm all for it, and because I own some Tesla. But I think people hate on Apple a little too quickly, and I think that will be a mistake. We're going to look back from 5 years from now, and that will have been a mistake. I think it will continue to be a top 2 or 3 largest company in the world, at least in that time frame.
Do they have training clusters? Do they have like a big server farm of H100s?
Have not heard them talk about it, but I would be shocked if Apple doesn't, you know? There's been no talks about how big their training clusters are. Haven't seen a massive increase in R&D spend, but also they just chopped off the car, so maybe they're just kind of transferring funds over. This is a long way of saying I don't know. We haven't heard anything about it, but again, I'd be shocked if they don't have any. They just announced a new chip today, the M4 chip, that they started focusing on the AI part of it. I know this is a Tesla conversation, but Apple's cool too.
No, you're absolutely right. The M4, and what people don't realize about Apple is if you have an Apple device in the last 3 or maybe 4 generations, it's got the neural chip in there that is more AI ready than other hardware. So I think you're right. I think Apple likes to take it slowly and then take the second generation and really blow it up. What I see them doing in the automotive world, if anything, is not a strong,
it's okay, Kishan.
brand awareness.
I think I am.
Like Rivian, that's already EV, but I think it's going to be a bottom tier, like worst
the Apple
of the
Watch,
worst legacy, like
AirPods.
Stellantis, Dodge,
Zero innovation there.
Ram,
They took over 2 categories. Those
Chrysler,
are out recently.
Whatever they're called.
What's up, Jonathan?
This week, they're barely considering EVs, and they just seem like the Joe Six-Pack of the automotive world. Apple can go in there, and what they've pitched to the world already is improving the in-car experience. So I would see Apple picking a Stellantis or something like that, and entirely revamping the UI experience of the Ram and the other Chrysler products to make it relevant again.
But don't you think that it's on brand for Apple to be premium? I can't imagine them deciding that they were going to drop into the low end. Even if they improve the experience, it just seems like Apple has a reputation for high end, and they probably like it. It's like the blue bubbles in your text messages. If someone has a green bubble, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, they're not on an Apple device, right? So why would they choose a company like Hyundai that doesn't have that premium reputation?
Penny, as you're saying that, so look, I could see Rivian, the type of company that Rivian is. EVs feels like the area Apple would want to go. Rivian has a good reputation. At least the products themselves, the stock and the company are a little bit different, but the products are pretty loved. As you're saying that, if you told me that's what the partnership was, I have no insights to believe it was. But Apple helping design the interior for Rivians, that would be an interesting one. That does feel like it fits a little bit.
Yeah, I thought you said CarPlay, and I was thinking in-car software as well, right? Infotainment, perhaps, maybe not the entire interior, but if they integrate next version Siri, what they have currently for CarPlay, and maybe at some point get into self-driving of some sort. I don't know what the details were of how far they made it with their own in-car or their own car program and whether or not they were working on that. But I think the infotainment is the obvious one for me. Or I wouldn't completely put it out of the question where they turn Rivians into Apple cars. It would be the premium sort of brand. They already have products that are loved. At some point, if they want to get into the industry, that seems like the type of purchase. And I don't know enough about the balance sheet of both companies, but I think if anyone could afford to sort of buy Rivian out of its debt and just focus on 5 years out rather than now and sort of restructure the company so that it can be a mass manufacturer, Apple would be the company that could do that. They have plenty of, experience outsourced manufacturing their current products, in factories in China or whatever. Maybe that would be the route that they do, is they take the Rivian brand and they start building them in China or something like that. Who knows? Maybe they just take some of that technology and help them build better in the US. But I don't think that's completely out of the question. Obviously, it's a long shot. But if I were Apple and I was like, damn, we can't make our own cars. We're biting off more than we can chew, but we still want to get into that business. What brand makes the most sense to get into bed with. Rivian, because it's EVs, seems like the one. Otherwise, I might think of like BMW or something like that. But that's just too legacy. That's like more of a hole to get out of, I think, than fixing Rivian's financial troubles.
If I might be mistaken, the long-term debt for Rivian doesn't look that. Oh nope, that's from last year. Okay, it's like 4.4 billion. That is a little bit. I would imagine this is probably a $20 billion acquisition at this point. 15 to 20.
So Apple announced some of the reasons beyond there, and Penny, I think it's glossing over it a little bit to say Apple decided they can't do it. I think they specifically said that they targeted a luxury vehicle, and they decided they could not sell it at a profit at $100,000. So, it is more maybe about manufacturing and scale than whether, quote, they could actually do it or not. Is that fair?
Sure, I include that in the list.
Jonathan, I'll throw that into the conversation there.
Pull it off, right? So I don't think we're too far off in terms of opinion.
Jonathan did ask in my chat, Rivian software is pretty good, and RJ, the CEO, talked with MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, who actually posted some really good reviews, about why native software is better for the cars. So interesting. I wonder if that kind of throws some water on our talks about it. I do think Apple still could do a better job than pretty much every single company on software, but interesting. I do watch his reviews.
What's up, Emmett?
That was a good Apple discussion. I appreciate all the points that were brought out. There's one thing about what the intensity we're seeing in Elon right now, and it takes me back to the first 3 launches for SpaceX and how difficult it was, and also getting a rocket to go up into the air and then land in the middle of the ocean, how intense that was. What I'm witnessing in myself and many other people in the Tesla community is that we believe that robotaxi is going to happen, but we think it's going to happen in 3 to 5 years. And I think we generally, that's kind of near the mean within the Tesla community. And I believe Elon wants everyone within Tesla to believe with their heart and soul that within 1 to 2 years, robotaxi, the way he's envisioned it, is possible, and that it's got to be mission critical. And I think that's what I'm witnessing and we're witnessing now, is an Elon trying to get the zeitgeist within the company and within the Tesla community to shift to a massive sense of urgency and a belief that something's possible in the near term.
That sounds accurate to me. I think Elon always pushes for urgency, and he always pushes for people to
133
do their best work.
plus
and he tries to cultivate an environment where that's possible.
Plus 781.
So I definitely
so basically like $1 billion worth of Apple with Tesla.
Something that isn't often discussed is simply the courage that Elon has. Of course, we all recognize that he created Tesla from scratch. He created an electric car company from scratch, and then he created a reusable rocket company from scratch. But I think because those are companies and they're from scratch, it's easy to recognize that.
Oh, Jonathan, you're chilling.
These crazy new goals.
I didn't even see what you were saying on the super chat. Now I appreciate you either way, but we're just kind of getting started here. I probably have to get that set up, but I care more about just getting live stream and getting better at this. So honestly, you hanging out in here is more than enough right now. I appreciate you, though, man.
From nothing. And then implanting devices in paralyzed people.
You hanging out in here is way more than I need.
Projects that most people and most companies they're just simply not courageous enough to bet their dollars and their resources on tackling these astoundingly difficult projects. So this is a huge reason that I'm invested in Tesla and want to continue to be, because Elon's willing to tackle these projects that no other company is willing to. Like, imagine if Meta or Mark Zuckerberg at Meta decided they want to work on implantable brain chips. Like, he and the company they don't have the courage to do something like that. Whereas Elon and Tesla and Neuralink and these other companies, they are willing to do these.
I don't know about that one.
Incredibly difficult projects.
I mean, getting so much hate for the metaverse,
they
but
are successful.
I'll let
It's
it
just
go.
a matter of time. So these random projects with like FSD and Optimus.
I don't know if I agree. Rivian, you get it cheaper, but
those
Rivian does have a
crazy
good product.
moonshots with other companies, and
A
that's
$20 billion
certainly
acquisition just
something I'm
isn't in
excited
Apple
about for
style, though.
Tesla.
Love it, y'all. Coming up to the top of the hour here. I don't have anything after this, but I do know some people have some stuff at 1, and then got a meeting in 20 or so. So I will move into some final thoughts and things like that, unless Jeff Lutz wants to jump up on stage and share anything with us, because I do see you in the crowd, but no pressure if you've got stuff going on. So with that being said, I am going to roll around up here. Just getting any other thoughts people want to share into the mix for today. And big appreciation to everyone that's on this panel. If you're a Tesla investor in the audience, you're probably going to want to follow the people on this panel as they follow it very closely, provide some great updates consistently. Kristen, anything else on the radar for you?
Yeah, I think everyone saw, or a lot of people saw, the Cybertruck release that new wheel that's supposed to give better range. So that's interesting. I'm looking forward to getting a Cybertruck. I was allowed to open up and order a foundation, but I decided not to wait till next year to see what I can get and how the prices change. So, yep, keeping up on the Cybertruck.
Sounds good. Yeah, I did see Mr. Beast is actually giving away a Cybertruck
today.
So something,
that's cool.
Yeah, he's giving away 26 Teslas in honor of his 26th birthday, which is today, and 25 of them are non-Cybertrucks, and one is a Cybertruck.
I wonder if he's trying to take the Tesla IR role. It's a good investor relations event he's got going on for Tesla.
It's true. He's always given away a lot of Teslas and dealt stuff with that. I mean, he's always been pretty closely tied to it. I mean, look at his pinned tweet on his account. Ryan, anything else on your mind?
No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the discussion as always.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, let's go on over to Landon. Anything else for yourself?
Thanks again. Absolutely. Three quick points. Tesla revealed and released a new model for production, or a new variation, I should say, to be fair. But people think, oh, nothing's going on with Tesla. Elon says there's not going to be any new products. But the excitement over Cybertruck
a couple things to talk on Tesla we didn't. The Costco one's
kind
interesting.
Of hard to fathom for most people. This is an amazing product that is a sculpture. This is artwork, and it also happens to be on the bleeding edge of automotive technology. And it's expensive, and it's new, and they don't have it ramping yet, and they've got software updates that are fixing things, but they're doing it. This is part of the process that we expect with Cybertruck. But the model that I'm describing that is released this week is a new version of Model Y. It's built in the United States in Texas. It probably has Cybercell 4680s in it. That's not confirmed. But it is a rear-wheel drive, long-range model that is now the cheapest
not getting close to that level.
Model Y. That was the best-selling car in the world.
Probably like 6 or 7 more candles.
They continue to innovate by giving variations to make the product cheaper and
ugly.
more affordable for consumers. Yikes. The last two points are voting. There's 2 things that you can vote on if you're a Tesla shareholder, and of course one of them is the Delaware reversal, where a lot of us are recommending that you vote for Elon to get this moonshot of a pay plan restored that he was granted by shareholders and earned and had taken away from him. And the other thing that you can vote on right now, if you're a shareholder, is try to enter the lottery to get shareholder event tickets for June 13th, is Tesla's shareholder meeting in Austin. Thanks as always for having me. Love participating.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Landon. Penny?
Yeah, I'll just double down on what Landon said about voting. Great point. Anyone in this audience that is a Tesla shareholder, this is probably the most important vote, in my point of view, over the course of the several opportunities that I've had to do this. Elon's pay package is absolutely critical, right? If you create a contract with someone and they deliver, you pay, and it's that simple. The idea that the judge could just swipe this from us and tell us that she knew better than the Tesla shareholders what Elon is or isn't entitled to me is obscene. So I would say, this is really important, not only for Tesla and Elon, but just for business integrity in general. Everyone get their butt into whatever broker they're using and, make the right decision. Vote for Elon.
Vote for Elon. There you go. And Evan.
No, this was a fantastic space and conversation as always. Definitely make sure you're following the speakers up here, especially when someone says something you enjoy or think is interesting or anything like that. Fuck it, I'll shout it out. I am live right now on YouTube trying out some live streaming, so up in the nest above, you guys should click that link and check it out. At least subscribe to the channel, and because I'm trying some different stuff. But yeah, been sharing this conversation, hanging out here on YouTube for a little bit, and yeah, so appreciate everyone. Follow the speakers, check the link up in the nest above, subscribe to the channel at least, and come hang out with me for a little. But yeah, no, appreciate the Space Wolf. Love these conversations. And when's the next time we're going to be live?
We will be live at, let's take a look right here. We are going to be live at 2 p.m. Eastern.
There you go, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Trader and Earnings Hub, talking about where people can find earnings information, diving into earnings data, everything else that's upcoming. And then we'll be live again at 3. All right, and thank you, Emmett, for jumping on stage as well. Appreciate everybody for sharing the afternoon with
Question:
us.
How does FSD play into the Grok 3 Optimus upgrade and release?
That's upcoming, but like Evan said,
I would say they're different.
2 p.m. Eastern today.
They might end up overlapping at some point. Ooh, Jessica, appreciate you getting in here.
Thanks again for spending some time with us today on Spaces.
Jessica, I hope you are well. I hope everyone in here is doing good. Let's stay space for a little bit. Question 2. In the Milk and Talk. Elon, I actually didn't get the chance to listen to that Milk and Talk. I probably should. Was it good? First, let me know that. I'm going to ask to you. Thank you, Jessica. Elon was talking about the gene editing being part of upgrades to humanity. Which genes is he editing? So I don't know specifically in that, but I know actually, many of you guys know I have that Arc Daily Kathy Wood account, which you can see. I have that up here. And this. I run this account. And I know that gene editing has become a very big focus for her. So I know there's companies like CRISPR and Editas and etc. and a few others that she is pretty interested in. So maybe you could start looking in that direction and give your thoughts around it. But gene editing gets some people excited. It seems like it's one of those things that's a couple years away, but we shall see. I do find it to be a very intriguing one in one of those areas in healthcare and medtech and all that stuff that just in general I don't know enough about. I do not know enough about, unfortunately. But, yeah, should be an interesting one to look at. We were just talking some Tesla there. I was looking at all of the Kathy Wood ETFs and how much Tesla she owned. I know she's a big fangirl of Tesla, fan in general. But she owns about $1 billion of Tesla right now. Let's scroll through some of the biggest news stories that we have here. And then we can go from there. Google is increasing its AI sales efforts. They are moving more people from different areas in Google Cloud to being sales and engineers for new AI-focused efforts. So if you thought this AI race or of the ages of AI companies saying AI, that took a lot to get out, like 55 times, it's not done. And it's only going to continue. And if you get a sales call from them, they're picking up the efforts. We have a lot of earnings after the close, but we'll use Earnings Hub in a second and look through that. TikTok suing the U.S. government over the law forcing the sale or ban. We knew this was going to come. That bill did get passed, but now this is probably going to end up being a debate for the U.S. Supreme Court, which is going to take a long time. So TikTok will not be banned for probably minimum a year, 2, and who even knows when we're going to be hearing that case in the Supreme Court. But it is coming. Definitely keep an eye out for that one. My best guess is TikTok does not get banned, but I could be wrong. I thought this one was kind of funny. Sam Altman is taking a SPAC public, so a developer of advanced nuclear systems backed by Sam Altman. One investor proven to go public. Oklo which OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is the chairman, is going public through a SPAC. And guess what? The SPAC is Alt Acquisition Corp C, but it is backed by Sam Altman. So a company that he is the chairman of is going public through a SPAC that he is backing. That maybe doesn't sound right, but I'll let it go. Interesting. Continuing on, we have Apple. They had their event today. They announced new iPad Pros and iPad Airs. The iPad Pro right here, Apple said, is its thinnest product ever. Let's just hope it doesn't break. Apple really went out of their way to say AI this morning. It really doesn't like them. I used to own CRISPR, then I learned more, no longer. Jessica, what do you not like about CRISPR? I've never really looked into it, but it's just an area I don't know so much. It is cool that the technology is named after them, I guess, but cool is not doesn't help you in the stock market. This iPad Pro starts at $999, $1,300 as well. New Apple Pencil starting at $130, but this was the big announcement of the day today that we didn't expect. They announced new M4 chips. So the iPad Pro is the first product that's getting the new M4 chip, which definitely feels a little strange, unexpected. But yeah, I think that the market, if you look at Apple stock, there was a little bit of a move higher, and it was exactly when this M4 chip came out. It's hard to tell on these 5-minute scales. So the event started at 10 a.m. So this is the event candle. This candle right here, this green one, is when they were talking about the M4 chip. But going back this way, that was pretty cool to see. They didn't talk enough about it. But they said they have a neural processing unit, which is made specifically for AI. So Apple should have some decent tech in the AI race. But we'll see if they can end up capitalizing on it. They also announced the new iPad Air. This is the first time they're making the iPad Air in an 11-inch and a 13-inch sizes. The 11-inch starts at $599. So $600 there. There was stories this morning between Uber and Instacart that they are partnering up so that now you can order Uber Eats restaurants via Instacart. Apple, I'm reading the chat at one point. Thank you guys for being active in this chat. I really do love that. That makes these things and live streams so much more fun when I have someone to talk to. Although, I gotta say, it is an extremely nice day outside right now. Let's check the weather. Let's check it out. Oh, that's beautiful. Open the shades. I got to get out there at some point, but yeah, continue a couple more stories. Disney moving lower. Let's actually check where Disney's at right now. Over here. Disney. It was down 10% earlier. Yep, Disney down 10% on the day right now. Ugly. Wish it was up, but it's oh well. They had some earnings this morning, which I'll get in front of me in a second. Nintendo, they are releasing a new Nintendo Switch this year. The second version of it. This should be coming out before March 2025. Goldman Sachs increasing their price target on Nvidia, which counteracted this morning, where Stanley Druckenmiller cut his Nvidia position in late March, saying that AI might be overhyped in the short term. That helped it move lower. Disney earnings did come in below expectations on revenue, also below expectations on subscribers. You can see how that is coming. There is some stories behind this. 1 second, quick water sip. Yeah, there is some stories about why it peaked here and they're still struggling to get back. This was some stuff that they did in the Indian market. They bought their rights to the Indian Premier League, which is cricket, and they were not making enough revenue on this one, even close to it. So they cut that, and that lost a lot of low-paying subscribers for them, and now they've been just fighting to get it back at a higher ARPU. So their average revenue per subscriber should be going up quite drastically, but the total subscribers did take a little bit of a hit there. But you miss on revenue, you miss on subscribers, it makes sense why that stock is down. Celsius reported earnings this morning, missed on revenue. I did see the stock, it was down originally, and it fought its way back up. What's Celsius doing here? I clicked the wrong thing. Celsius. This is how I started live streaming, just talking shit, very similar to Spaces for you, but with visuals, you can show IRL. Yeah, exactly. And you missed it, Jessica. We were actually kind of showing the Spaces in here, so if you're subscribed and if you're chilling in here, you will one day see and hear those spaces. Let me know how the quality is going forward. But yeah, Celsius had a little bit of a comeback intraday. You could see the morning candles off the earnings, and it fought its way back up. We're basically right where we were going into the earnings. What time is this? No, this is the earnings candle. Okay, this is the earnings candle. Oh, yeah, big downward move there. But nice move back. It got all the way down to like 63, and we're back up at 77. Good move. Dirty Birdie. First time I'm seeing that name in the chat. Welcome. All right, continuing some of the news from the morning. Peloton is one we've talked a lot about how rough it's been going over there. Multiple private equity firms have been considering acquiring Peloton. Peloton did move higher today off of this one. Let's check in there. Peloton. Yeah, big move up. It's given a little bit of a back, but we're still higher. Started the day around $3.53. We're around 408 right now. You guys want to see something crazy? Like, look at I'm sure there's 1 week chart on Peloton. Oof. Crazy, the stock was like 160 for a while. And now here we are down at 4. And this was just in 2021. That thing got destroyed. All right, we'll just get off of this. As the computer is slow. All right, new Nintendo Switch coming. That's going to be exciting. Celsius earnings this morning. We talked about this one. Costco reportedly taking delivery of a Tesla Semi. I only seen one, and I didn't see too many stories behind it, so it might have just been them testing out. It could have been a little bit more. Who knows? We'll follow this one. I'm sure we'll see more. But a couple more companies besides just the Pepsi are starting to get the delivery of those Tesla Semi trucks. Did you already look at Coke? I have not looked at Coke today. What's happening with Coke? They didn't have earnings this morning, right? Yeah, Coke's having a decent day. When is Coca-Cola earnings? Oop, that got taken off. Sorry. There we go. We should be good now. Coca-Cola, April 30th. So they reported last week. Here's an AI summary of that transcript. We're off to a good start, continuing. 1, 2, 3. Like 8 positives, like 6 negatives. Interesting. All right, no, didn't really talk about Coke too much. That comment from Elon yesterday. Here's some stuff that we're watching for Tuesday. This is the Catalyst Watch I like to put out. We had the Apple event this morning. Kashkari was speaking. Those already happened. It's 1:15. So there's a Canaccord Genuity Metals and Mining Conference if you want to keep those stocks on watch. Mobileye is speaking. Speaking of those gene therapy ones, maybe this is why you're getting some move in those areas. There is that conference. So CRISPR, Editas, Regeneron, Azitra? I don't know. Maybe not. Are all speaking today. Interesting. Okay. And then earnings as well coming up after the close. We got a bunch of them. Arista, McKesson, Occidental, Coupang, Electronic Arts, Toast, Twilio, Rivian, Lyft, Upstart. What time should these be coming out? Upstart 4:05, Rivian 4:10. A lot of people in my chats have been talking about Coupang recently. There should be out right at the bell. 4 p.m. for Coupang. Occidental, obviously, Warren Buffett spoke over the weekend, so that one's been in watch as Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway just keep buying more. They don't want you to talk about Occidental. They don't want you to buy it because it's theirs. Don't take it from them. Toast, 4:05. For Confluent, 4:05. All right. Interesting. So I'm going to be back on Spaces later today. I might come back on this live stream a little later today for some live earnings. We'll see. But if you're in here, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell button. I appreciate Jessica coming in, being super active in the chat, and subscribing and hitting that notification bell as well. So shout out to you. Shout out to all you guys other ones in here. WG, Dirty, And then Cool Change Ontario 32. Jonathan, you guys were hanging out in here for a good time. Let's see if I can scroll up in the chat. I know Ollie, always chilling in here. Mod, shout out. But yeah, subscribe to this page. Hit that notification button, and you'll get the hit that bell button. You'll get notified when I go live on these live streams. I'm thinking of maybe coming back live around like 3:30 for some live earnings. Cover all of these ones here. Maybe doing some stuff tomorrow. We have ARM, Airbnb, Trade Desk. And guys, if you don't know, actually, one thing that's happening tomorrow that I am very excited for is right here. Dan Niles, for any of you guys who don't know, tech investor who was bullish or was up in the market in 2022. He definitely takes a little bit more of the safe route, but enjoys investing in the mega cap names. I really enjoy hearing what he's watching and his thoughts. So Dan Niles, very actively on CNBC and Bloomberg, etc., joins ourselves on the spaces. So I think I'm going to live stream that on here as well. So you guys should be able to hear it. But appreciate everyone. Thank you, Jessica. I look forward to seeing you more in these chats more. You're fantastic. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope the portfolio, the market keeps moving in your direction. And I will catch you all for maybe that spaces later. But just more live streams coming soon.